level 3/level 4 questions. So first of all, here on the left top side, we have the equation that we're going to be graphing. So the equation is y equals 2e to the power of x minus 2 plus 4. So in order to actually graph this, I believe that the easiest way, without using a calculator, is to actually begin from the basic form of the exponential equation. So beside this equation, we have this equation, which is y equals ab to the power of x minus h plus k. So you may recognize the h and the k. As we saw in the quadratics unit, the h shifts left and right the equation, well, the graph at least, while the k, it shifted up and down, and the a is a horizontal stretch or vertical stretch. So first of all, I wrote down the transformations from the equation that we see from the equation that we're going to be graphing, which is the equation is going to be shifted 2 units to the right, 4 units up, and it's going to have a vertical stretch of 2. So in my opinion, the easiest way to actually graph this is by doing like focusing on the transformations step by step. So what we're going to do is first we're going to focus on the original equation, which is e to the power of x by itself. Then we're going to add the two to get the new points, and after getting those points, we're going to add the new transformations in order to get our final result. So I'm going to do this with 2 points, or maybe 3. So first, I'm going to do the original points from the basic graph, which is e to the x. The first point is 0, 1, 1, and 2.71. I'm going to do a third point just for the sake of it. Then the third point is 2 with 7.38. So what I was talking about earlier is what I am about to do. So I'm going to draw an arrow. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but with 2e to the power of x. If you notice, I'm doing this with a 2 because in the equation that we're going to graph, there is a 2. So if you were going to do this for any other graph and there's a 3 instead of a 4, instead of a 2 or any other number, in this case, I'm going to multiply the 1 by 2 to get 0.2. Then I'm going to multiply the 2.71 in order to get 5.4. I'm going to leave it with 1 decimal just to making it easier. Then we're going to graph the 2 and we're going to multiply it by 2 and we're going to get 14.7. Now, the only thing left to do is to actually use the transformations missing, which is 2 units right and 4 units up in order to get our final points for the graph. So now, first, for the 0.2, if the transformation say it's 2 units to the right, the 0 changes into a 2, and the 2 would change into a 6 because we would be adding 4 units up, meaning that the equation would be shifted up, which would leave us with a 2.6, and we would have to do this for the rest of the points. So then the 1 would become a 3, and the 5.4 would become a 9.4. and the 2 would become a 4, and the 14.7 would become a 18.7. And this is, in my opinion, the easiest way to actually get the points in order to graph them. So before I actually graph it, I would like to show you guys something in Desmos. So first, I'm gonna activate. So here, the black line is the original equation, and the purple is the first step that we actually did. As you can see, the graph is stretched, vertically stretched. And then on the last step is where I performed the transformations, the 2 to the right and 4 up, and the black line is the initial and the original line, and the red is the final line. So now I'm going to graph it very quickly. 2,6, 3, and 4,18. Of course, the graph is not perfect, but I'm going to go back to Desmos to demonstrate something very important, which is going to be very relevant in the domain, well, not in the domain, in the range and the horizontal asymptote. So the domain, as I explained in the earlier video, the domain is always going to be all reals, or negative infinity to positive infinity. The only thing that changes for the range in this case is that, as we see in the graph in Desmos, the on the left hand side where the negative numbers are, we see that the numbers, or at least the line, seems to be approaching number 4 instead of number 0, which we saw in the level 1 question. This is because we have a vertical translation of 4 units, as we see here, meaning that the equation is 4 units up, which is why in this case the range would be from 4 to infinity, because we're never going to get a value that's lower than 4 as seen in the graph. Meaning, well, not meaning this, as a result of this, the horizontal asymptote would be equal to y equals 4. And that's